Good evening and happy Monday, everybody. Happy Feast of Saint Apollinaris. And I hope you all had a relaxing and sanctifying weekend. We found out something fairly predictable over the weekend that Christopher Nolan's latest movie, The Odyssey, is likely to make $1 billion. He's one of the reliable directors for Hollywood that can bring in the big bucks. And looks like the movie he's made is well on its way to, once again, not only being profitable, but being quite profitable. And, even if you haven't gone to see it, I'm sure you've seen all of the Odyssey memes floating around, or maybe you've engaged in some of the discourse on that. And I went to go see it because a buddy of mine wanted to, and I'm usually down to just go with people when I'm invited. So what do I think of the movie? Well, let's actually talk about something else first. We'll get back to the Odyssey. Don't worry about it. But I watched another thing, much shorter. It was about a 3-minute video on YouTube, maybe 4 minutes, about some business person. I have no idea who it was. I cannot remember it. Talked about how there was a problem that his team was dealing with, and it just needed to be addressed. He was the leader of this team. He says to everybody on the team, you have 2 days and everybody come up with 15 solutions to this, and in 2 days we're all going to get together and we're going to talk about it. So they do that, and he does some things to make sure that everybody has buy-in. He says, okay, if your idea gets said by somebody else, just cross it off the list, right? Starts putting all of the ideas up on the board, and then gets people to listen and collaborate on this. Some of the people are able to come up with the solution there. And he pointed out something really interesting. He said that all of the people who came up with the ideas to solve this problem weren't very good at executing their solutions. The people who didn't come up with good ideas were actually better at executing other people's solutions rather than their own. But he thought that the collaborative model he used to hack out this solution and point the team in the right direction was the right way. And it's just a useful thing to remember when you're talking about any kind of a group endeavor, that not everybody's going to be good at everything. And that's actually really very excellent and very important that it would work like that we would have, imbalances between each other that would, compensate, that the person who's good at this can focus on this, person who's good at that can focus on that. If somebody's, very much, loves just sitting down, running a process, running the process consistently, generating that output, fine. You just let them, spin that wheel, crank their way through. Some people are much more entrepreneurial, much more risk-taking, much more big ideas. Make sure they're in a position where their big ideas can thrive, because your person who likes spinning the wheel is not going to necessarily come up with the big ideas. Your big ideas guy is going to be bored and restless if he has to sit there and spin a wheel. All right, that's, if you've been a part of teams for a while, you've seen those sorts of dynamics play out. Hopefully, we can all see why doing that is a good thing. So let's imagine that this little live stream here that we're doing is a team. I've got, I guess, 6 people listening right now. There's a job that you shouldn't give me on the team. And that job is being a movie critic. I'm terrible at being a movie critic. I'm just awful at it. I am very easily dazzled by these sorts of things. I usually just sit down and enjoy myself, enjoy the spectacle for 2 hours. Things have to be pretty blatantly, obviously stupid in order for me to tune out and become critical. That would be Disclosure Day, by the way. Disclosure Day was, such a phenomenally stupid movie that it couldn't even entertain me. Very low bar to cross right there. Very, very low bar to cross right there. And how do you know this? Well, how do I know this, right? When I leave the movie theater, I'm like, wow, I was so moved by that. I lost track of time. I enjoyed myself. And that was a great movie, right? And maybe, maybe some of the discourse. I mean, there was some jarring bits, all of the stuff you've heard about the casting, just it does kind of stand out, and I was like, well, that kind of stands out. But overall, I enjoyed this, right? I don't go around it. I didn't talk very much about it. I gave a few people on a few Discord servers my initial thoughts, but I decided I wasn't going to engage in the discourse too heavily because I know myself, right? I know that I'm terrible at being a movie critic, right? And then I see a tweet from Lyle Leibowitz. He's a contributor for First Things, among other things. And he points out something. He points out that in the original Odyssey, the gods are very present. The gods are like active characters in the story. Their agency on Odysseus and all these sorts of things changes the course of the plot. And in Nolan's Odyssey, they're in the background if they're anything more than a psychological projection. Now, that's something I could have noticed. That's something I could have known. Now, I haven't actually read the Odyssey, but I have read the Iliad. And I remember reading the Iliad being struck at how often the gods were intervening, right? And that's typical of this epic poetry from that era, that the gods are very involved, are very active in the stories that are being told. And I just plain didn't notice that. I am not very good at being a movie critic. So I don't intend to give much movie criticism of that. I know friend of the show, Mark, he had an extended treatment of that on his YouTube channel, Navigating Patterns, which, maybe you want to go check out if you want to have the full pirate treatment of the Odyssey there. But because I'm really bad at it, you're not going to get a whole ton of movie criticism out of me, just because I don't think that's my place in the team. You want to talk some canon law, you want to talk some theology, philosophy, or a number of other topics that I can do. I'm very happy to do that. But I'll leave the movie criticism to somebody else. I just know that about myself. I don't see these things very easily. And that's fine because I have all of you people to help me out with these things, to notice the things that I don't notice, and to fill in what I am not quite good and competent at. So thank God for other people, and thank God for teamwork. I am, in fact, saying that people have to cooperate with each other, even when it comes to something as basic and banal as understanding a movie there. And everyone and their uncle has put a review of the Odyssey on YouTube. Well, it's going to make $1 billion, Thon. So you may as well get in on the discourse. May as well get in on the discourse while the discourse is hot, because the algorithm's going to be talking about it this week. Can we pray for everyone who has gender dysphoria? I think the world needs a prayer. We'll put this in the hands of Our Lady. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Amen. And back and finally recovered from his Friday night marathon, we've got Mr. Mark into the show.
Hello, Father. Yes, I just I just finished my AI experiment. The AI confirms that Christopher Nolan does not write movies with points. He writes mirrors. So there you go. All of his
He
movies
writes
are
he
mirrors.
writes mirrors of the audience or of himself.
They're mirrors of either the audience or the culture, but they're mirrors. Like you're gonna see whatever you want in the movie. Like this should be so abundantly clear. Like he kind of told you that with Inception. Like I don't. I'm so confused with you. I'm like, did is this new to you? This Nolan guy? Have you never seen a Nolan movie?
Okay,
Even
okay,
Dark
Mark,
Knight.
Mark, 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 Mark. Who are you talking to here? You're talking to the guy who literally says, "I don't see anything in movies."
Yeah.
So,
But it's not
like,
directed at you. It's directed at all these people. Are they just unfamiliar with Nolan as a filmmaker? And like he's even said, like actually said, he does this. Like, no, these are mirrors of society or the audience. Fair enough, dude. Like I agree. Why are we reviewing like you just need to review one. They're all the same. There's set and setting difference. That's about it. They don't have endings. None of them have any endings, which is fine. Maybe I'm not a fan, but maybe I mean you could make the Batman stuff, but like the Batman the comic book the thing that kills comic books completely is they don't have stable origin or ending stories at all. Right? Every single comic book story has been
you
rewritten
need to
multiple
have a
times.
graphic novel in order for that to happen.
But yeah, and even with that, so you go to like the Watchmen, which is the right. That's there's one right. It sucks. It's terrible. It doesn't have an ending. There's no resolution to anything. Everyone's kind of left. It's all damage, right? It's all damage report. That's all it is. And that's maybe that's fine. Maybe that's required. Whatever. But I do not understand why guys like Peugeot in particular don't know this about Nolan. You are going to see whatever you want in this movie. And I've seen 4 different reviews and they did not see the same film. They could have been in the theater at the same time. It would not have made a difference. They were just never going to see the same thing ever. And that is a particular quirk. Is it? But you could argue it's a clever style of filmmaking that most people can't do. That would be fine.
You
Also,
can argue that it's going to make $1 billion, which means he's going to be allowed to greenlit direct another film.
you could argue that. I'm gonna actually bet it won't. It won't come close, but we'll see.
Okay,
Uh,
neither of
well,
us
they're
live in the
using
future,
first
so
week projection numbers, and first week projection numbers haven't been right in 5 years for any movie. So I don't buy it. Like all the big hits did not necessarily have good first hit because the thing is, you can make 100 million in your first week, but if your movie sucks and people don't want to see it, and the indicator's always been very clear to me. I don't know why everybody else is confused. If you have a movie like this, which is filmed for IMAX, the if the IMAX numbers are high and the IMAX is filled and the regular theaters are not, you're not getting your second week numbers. That's not happening. Because to get to $1 billion, you need consistent $100 million weeks. You can't do it on one. That's not.
yeah.
You're only at 10%. Right? Like, so I suspect, like every other movie that has followed this pattern, that it's going to peter out and it's not going to do well next weekend. But you never know because it's a Nolan movie and anything could happen. But I don't think so. The indicators for me are that it's not gonna work out. And I think that the problem is, I've called this time period before the great revealing, right? Like everything's getting revealed. Where people really stand is getting revealed by what they see in this movie. And so now you can tell who's still a Democrat on the left and who's actually a conservative. Because the conservatives are going to trash the movie because it's not a conservative film. It doesn't conserve anything. It destroys the basis of the film. And you can take a myth and downgrade it to story all day long, which is what Nolan has to do because he's not that good. Like he might be really good. He ain't that good. That's for sure. But you remove the gods as the agents of the what's going on of the action, and you you're not in mythology territory anymore. And yeah, fine and fair. Maybe you don't belong there or whatever, and you're just trying to tell a story, and downgrading a myth to a story is fine. I mean, you're almost guaranteed a home run, right? So who cares? But that's all that's happening here. And what are you going to do? You're going to say it's the best movie in 10 years? Like, that's such a low bar. Who cares? So that's more the issue. And just looking at the reviews I've seen, I'm like, this is a disaster. This is exactly what Barbie was. It's exactly what. And I did a live stream on Barbie. It's the same thing. It's not a movie. People are going to see what they see, and everyone's going to have seen a different film. And in the case of Barbie, it's way worse because that's just disconnected scenes that are in sequence. They're not connected to one another by anything. Like, they're just complete scenes, just weird, disjointed scenes. And Nolan's not going to do that because he's better than that. Although I would argue some of his movies have suffered from that. But yeah, I mean, I don't understand why this is surprising. Why anybody, unless you weren't expecting someone like Peugeot to come out and basically admit his position never changed, and he's still a leftist Baptist evangelical, which I already knew. It's not surprising to me, but I can understand why people would get upset at learning that when they thought otherwise. That's reasonable. I've been mightily disappointed too. So, but what did you see, Father, in the movie? Like, I mean, you enjoyed it though, right? I mean, Nolan films are generally enjoyable for lots of reasons.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to ask what I saw, right? I mean, I saw that the basic bones of the story were all intact. What I mean is, you've got the Sack of Troy, you've got, all of these different adventures that I'm familiar with. Although I was annoyed that they didn't pull the nobody trick on the Cyclops, right? Like, I felt like that was a miss right there. You know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah, he said he couldn't do it. And I was like,
yeah, sure you could have.
I think there is a point there. I don't think he made it well. There might be a point there. It's probably a translation issue for him. But in order to know whether or not he's, even being valid with that, there's a lot of research you'd have to do. You'd have to look at the translation he used by this reprehensible retard. And you'd have to kind of figure out what the original, because the thing is, the Greek language is so tricky that's not a double entendre. It's a triple entendre in the Greek. I can just tell you, right, without having read it, I can just tell you that's definitely how that went down. Yeah. It's one of these triple layer of meaning things because the Greeks can get away with that in the language, just the way the words are and how far away the definitions are from one another in similar enough contexts. And so I know that's what it is, and that might be what he's referring to. Whether or not that's in his alleged quote source, if that's a source, material is a different question. I suspect he didn't use her book at all. I suspect he said that because it would be cool or whatever. They're up to something in Hollywood, so who knows?
Who knows what any of us are up to? What else did I see? I thought that all of the references to the Sea Peoples and the kind of on the nose line about the end of the Age of Bronze was kind of a little too cute. I remember thinking that at the time, yeah. I don't know. A lot of people had criticisms of the acting. I thought it was well cast. So even though you had, some people just doing their character fit. Like I said, some of the casting decisions, were jarring, right? It's like, why did we do that? But I forgave the movie. I was unexpectedly moved by the scene of the Sack of Troy. and I was not expecting that. Like, I had in the back of my mind some of the universal history stuff that that
Joe and
Peugeot
Roland
had talked about, and I've read the Aeneid, and I enjoyed the Aeneid, and so like I do kind of see myself connected to Rome, right? Even though the Rome of our day is not the Rome of the ancient world. I do feel I think a spiritual connection. Yeah, and then Odysseus went home and killed the wicked suitors, and left his son on the throne, which like I liked that they didn't change that too much. That was kind of how the conclude, like that the patriarchy was reestablished at the end. So I was like, well, there's a happy ending, I suppose. So yeah, the sack of Troy, and me, like in my imagination, that was the death of the plant and the sending forth the seed that would become Rome. I wasn't expecting that to hit me the way it did, but that wasn't in the movie, right? So when you're saying that's a mirror, it's like, well yeah, but Peugeot or Nolan didn't put that in the movie. I put that into the movie, so fair enough.
Yeah. Well, and that is the point. The point is, well, what did you see as opposed to these other people? Did they see the same sort of thing? And I think, yeah, if you're looking for a joyful, triumphant ending, you're going to find it. It doesn't matter what side of the issues you're on. You're going to find it, because Nolan knows what he's doing with respect to mirrors. He's really good at it. I mean, he convinced everybody that Tenet and Inception were like good movies, and I would argue that they might be entertaining, but they're not. They don't make for good movies. That's
and that's the problem, is you're dealing with a lot of yokels like me who are just looking to be entertained when they go to the movie theater.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, I'm not against Nolan movie. I like The Dark Knight. That was fun. I mean, I like Memento. I like films that are odd and awkward. I like another film that's really out there. Well, I mean, I like The Matrix. The Matrix is really out there. I love The Matrix. The Matrix is great. But I like those awkward, strange, like movie type twist films. I just don't,
Mark, Memento was terrible. All right.
Terrible? Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was clever and fun, and easy too, right? Like, it's once you figure out what he did, it's like, oh man, that's just cheating, and it is. But that was clever cheating. I liked it.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Film it forward and edit it backwards. Problem solved. Total consistency, just very little work. Fix it all in post, Yeah, I like that. I like that level of play with the medium. I can appreciate it for that, but it's not a movie. Like, it's not sending a message. It's telling you who you are. That's all. And that's not even, like, that's fine. Like, you want to know more about yourself? Go watch a Nolan film. You'll figure out a lot about yourself if you're careful. Right? If you pay attention to what you saw in the movie. The problem is when you go and project that out to the world. Now that's always a big, I keep saying it's all psychological projection on the internet, man. Well, this is the perfect example. This is like amplified psychological projection. People are just talking about what they saw in a mirror, and it's just revealing who they are and where their true allegiances lie, and whether or not they're even principled. Because if you think this was a movie, you don't have enough principle or power of principle to know that it wasn't. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably most people. Also, you'd be careful with those people. Like, you can't put unprincipled people in charge of important things. That's all. You can maybe they can direct traffic, somewhere, or, take your grocery cart out to your car and help you load the car with it or something. That's fine. But I don't want them in politics. Like, if you're unprincipled, I don't want you in charge of things.
What are you talking about, right? So I'm sitting here And I'm telling you that, like, I'm really bad at movie criticism. I miss these things constantly. You shouldn't trust me with this. But I wouldn't describe, I feel a little attacked here, right? I wouldn't describe myself as unprincipled.
Did you go on the internet and start telling?
Oh,
No, you
okay. It was the blabbing.
explicitly
The blabbing
avoided
is what
doing
you were
that
talking about.
because
Right.
you're principled. That's the
Okay.
difference. You're like, I'm not going to be a movie critic because I'm not a movie critic. That's a principle. Don't get
Okay.
involved in stuff you don't know nothing about. Yeah, fair
Okay.
enough. I just
Okay.
did a
So
video.
I thought you're saying that a lack of principles made you susceptible to that kind of
No. It reveals a lack of principle when somebody goes on and does a movie critique of a movie that they saw that isn't a movie. Which it would be one thing if it was his first film and his first film was Inception and you had no warning or something. But even the freaking AI can figure it out. Like, I don't even know what to tell you at that point. Like, guys, every reviewer, like, I didn't pull this out of thin air. I'm not a movie guy. Like, I don't do movies. We have a movie club, but we're looking for patterns. I could care less about the movie itself in some sense. We're looking for themes and patterns and things that tie things together. It's a specific type of experiment meant to do something, particular, right? It's a practice. But the idea that, there are people out there that'll just critique anything, that's unprincipled, right? Like, I'm not, so I recorded a video a couple hours ago, actually. And one of the things I said was, you don't come to Mark for how's the style of that guy's guitar playing, because Mark don't know nothing about guitar. Like, does that, like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Like, I'll refrain. Like, people ask me, like, hey, what's going on in the church in France? And I'll be like, I don't know what's going on in the church in France.
Exactly.
I barely even know what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you've got to stay. Yeah, speech is a very dangerous thing. You should be careful who you talk to. Now, right. I will say it's a big difference at doing it like in the car with your buddy, right? Like, what did you see?
That's the
versus
discernment.
On the internet. Yeah,
that's the discernment that everyone's lacking, because everyone is pretending that they have a universal view of the world. And if you had a universal view of the world, there is a possible, although it's still completely invalid, which puzzles me. I'm like, logically, you're still invalid, critique of, well, if somebody says that, then, it's like, no, you just don't know how to think. The context matters, to fight what the postmoderns have, programmed you to believe, which is also just the Reformation, by the way, but spoilers. You can't say, well, saying that in any context is a bad thing. That's not true for anything ever, and never has been and never will be. Like, there's no way that that's ever universally true. And that's where the problem begins, that people assume, because they want a universal truth, because they want a rule they can follow, right, or judge by, one of the two, they assume that that's a condition that's valid. And it's like, no, you just lack discernment. It very much matters if you're talking to your spouse and you say, well, some days I feel like I want to be a martyr right now. You're already still crazy, irrespective of all the factors. But I would never know that, because I'll never see what you say to your spouse. It's never going to happen. So I can't judge you on that, obviously, right? But it's different if you start telling, your close friend. That's actually different. Now, you may swap those. You may say, well, you would never want to tell your wife or your husband, but you might want to tell your closest friend. Fair enough, right? But it wouldn't be both. Like, now we're straying into problem territory. Now, this only helps you, right? Again, I don't have access to this. I don't want access to this. I don't care, actually. But when you do it publicly, like if you go out there, like you rent a hall and you start, basically we would be preaching at that point about how you wish you could be a martyr, or you would be a martyr, but, okay? Or if you were, or heaven forfend, you do that on the internet. You are crazy, right? Not for saying that, but for saying it publicly, yes, right? Because again, for saying that doesn't even make any sense. I wouldn't know, because I don't know what people say when I'm not there to see it, and they're not transmitting it. So it's dumb to even talk that way. And people do it all the time. And I'm like, but you're not God and you don't have access to the sum total of everything going on all the time. Why would that even be a valid thing to think about?
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking about other people's private conversations and what words they use in context you can never experience at all. What drugs are you on? Like, you gotta, like, seriously, we got to invent a drug to prevent that. That's like serious mental deficiency at some point. But now, that's Mark, that's the mistake. That's the mistake people are making.
You may think it funny that Saint Jean de Brebeuf, right, martyr, actually said that he had an ardent desire to be a martyr, and he wrote that in his diary.
Yeah, in his diary, sure.
I was hoping to get a bigger response out of that, but that's fine. That's fine. I didn't time that. I didn't land that joke. He said that in his diary. You know, that's how I should have said it. So,
better.
Anyway, we've got Chris and we've got Dot on. Do you have anything else? Are we going to continue to dogpile on Nolan tonight, or did you have something else you felt like we needed to discuss here?
I mean, I don't know why we would need a dogpile on Nolan when he only ever makes the same movie over and over and over again, where he's just basically huffing his own farts, trying to pretend he's the only one that sees the pattern of how genius he is. It's
well, he's got some there's some ponderous YouTube essays out there that would sit there and proclaim his genius there. So he's not literally the only one. There's some fanboys out there.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, every time I have watched, unfortunately, several Nolan, several long video essays about Nolan movies, and I'm like, this is the same movie as the last movie. This is the same movie as the last movie. Like, everybody breaks down his movies. It boils down to that. Nolan, the auteur, in love with himself and in love with the filmmaking process, but he's not making, like, the story whatever story he tells, like, the meta story is, look at how brilliant I am as the only one that sees this is so meta, even this acronym, right? Like,
okay.
It's like, okay, I would have preferred you actually tell a story that's worth engaging with. Please stop huffing your own farts. So it's like, okay, he did it again. He huffed his own farts again. Yeah, like, do we? How many times do we need to dunk on the fact that he keeps huffing his own farts? I don't know.
I just there's an amazing thing that's happening right now, as I'm in unambiguous agreement with Yon God here, who says that the nuclear practical effects for Oppenheimer should have had Nolan put on ice for 5 years, and that was something I noticed. I thought it was a little underwhelming, even in the theater, even with my puny film critic brain. When you can't even dazzle me with the special effects, that's how you know something has gone wrong with your movie, because I am the easiest and most gullible special effects enjoyer in the world, basically. That is my title and my contribution to world history. Is
because I could just tell you the contents of my dreams, and that would be 5,000 times more interesting than Inception.
Well, we'll see. I mean, do your dreams feature Leonardo DiCaprio and?
Well, I don't remember if Leo's ever shown up in my dreams before, but Pierce Brosnan, James Bond, and Daniel Craig, James Bond sure have.
Huh. Those James Bonds.
All right. It was a James Bond crossover. They were both excellently, running through a place, snarking at each other, being very British, and I guess I was following along as the camera person or something. It was very cool, and very British, and very snarky, and etc.
Oh man, if only we all could have been there.
Yeah, you weren't there, man. You had to be there.
No, I did not see the Odyssey, whatever. We did watch Toy Story 5, though.
I heard that didn't go as hard on the iPads as it should have.
Yes, they went from iPads are evil to iPads are neutral. and did not go to. They did not take the hard line that they should have, that you shouldn't be allowed one until you're 25 or something.
Well, of course not.
So-
Apple probably paid them a lot of money to not do that.
Does Disney need a lot of money?
I don't know. Do Disney's
think-
animators need a lot of money?
Disney's bankrupt. They've been bankrupt for years.
Well, morally bankrupt, certainly. Financially
No,
bankrupt, who
they've
knows?
been cooking the books forever. It's their
Yeah.
theme park's not making any money anymore.
Well, that's
how
true.
they funded all the movies.
The theme parks aren't even making money. I thought they switched to marketing Disney World to adults because they figured out that was more profitable.
No, the only kind of adults that show up for Disney, are a very small minority of the population.
You can make a lot of money off of a very small minority of the population.
The part of the problem is things like Dollywood exist now. So Dollywood is way less than half the cost.
Okay, so if you're that kind of person, right, the very rainbow hyper progressive person, there are so many other more degenerate places you could go to actually be really, really degenerate, and it's cheaper than going to Disney. So why would you go to Disney?
I don't think that's their true motivation. It's more to really
No, but I mean, I'm just saying, for the purpose of the argument that, yeah, Disney has aimed itself at selling itself to a certain kind of audience, right? The kind of audience that are like, nobody else wants to take their children to the same park when there are those people there. And then, but those people don't want to go to Disney because they want to be even more gross than Disney allows them to be. And it's cheaper to go to those places to be gross there than to go to Disney and have Disney
data
hold your
on any
leash.
of this? Like, where are we getting information from?
General pattern recognition. And I used to be on 4chan, and I looked at the 4chan porn. I'm like, yeah, if porn is like this for free, why would you go to Disney?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Like, what's the purpose of going to Disney if you can just sit in your room and look at porn?
You can be a part of the stories that you grew up with. Like, that's the idea. You can go.
But but Disney doesn't let you draw Disney porn at Disney World.
Well, some people
probably.
Some people are not
people would
motivated
just
by
like
porn.
to have a picture with Mickey Mouse.
Right, but that's not enough people to keep Disney in business, is what I'm saying. Because the real money from the furries is in very degenerate furry porn. I know.
All right. Well, I've heard enough about that for now. You get a 2-minute timeout. All right.
There's definitely no overlap there, but yeah, it's frightening, absolutely frightening. I heard bad reviews about Toy Story 5, Christopher. Especially, I mean, what you mentioned as well, but the confusing messaging. But other things are not right with that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fifth in a series, so that's never a good sign.
Hey,
So-
Rocky 5 was a classic.
Yeah. Well, but it depends who wrote the Rocky movies. That's the key. And that's
And
what
I will-
people get
yeah.
confused.
Also unrelated, kind of, I will remind you, Father Eric, that I want to hear your take on the movie Dragon Slayer whenever you get around to watching it.
Dragon Slayer.
Oh yeah,
That
he's
was
gotta
one
watch
from like the 1990s, right?
No, that was earlier than that. Was like 80s.
80s.
Dragon Slayer. Okay. All right. I mean, I don't watch movies very often. The fact that I've seen 2 this summer indicates to you how bored I am here in Washington, D.C.
Excellent. We appreciate this boredom.
Yeah, well, hey, if it can be made into content for the content mill of YouTube, then I'm here to serve. Don't you like having the fruit of your labors described as content and being
I
described
would
as consumer?
punch somebody if they said that to me, but sure.
You're a content creator, Mark, and so am I.
No, I am not. I refute such a vile and disgusting concept.
Yeah, but Dragon Slayer was in the 80s. This is ILM people working for or it
I'm
wasn't
thinking of
released
The
as
Last
Disney.
Dragon, aren't I? I
But-
think I'm thinking of The Last Dragon.
Yeah,
That was a 90s movie. Okay, Dragon
Yeah.
Slayer.
I saw that one too. That was recently. That was fun. That's so interesting. A lot of dragon movies in that time period.
Dragonheart.
Oh,
Isn't that one?
that's
Dragon
one of
Heart
the
was
movies that actually pulled on my cynical little heartstrings, even when I watched it back then.
Dragon Slayer or Dragonheart?
Dragonheart, the one with Sean Connery as the dragon.
Oh, now I'm all mixed up now. I'm all mixed up. I can't keep this straight. No, am I thinking of Braveheart? That's what I'm thinking of.
Braveheart.
No.
You're all over the
I'm so confused right now. Don't trust anything I say. This is all I need to. Okay, I'm gonna get these all straight.
I like the honesty, Father. That's what we need.
Dragon
Yeah,
Slayer,
like-
1981 film.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
did-
that's got some
yeah.
banging cover art right there, or movie posters. All right,
Yeah, it does.
And The Last Dragon.
Yeah, I actually missed out on a lot of
So The
movies
Last
because
Dragon
I
was the
was
Kung
very
Fu
sheltered
movie,
as a
right?
kid.
Oh,
So I didn't get a
dragon?
chance. I didn't get a chance to watch movies until I was in like college, probably. Or movies that my parents didn't approve of. Let me put it that way, until college,
Okay.
basically.
Dragonheart is the one that I have in fact seen, but that was when I was a kid, right? Like probably 2 years after it came out. So I don't trust my recollection on this. All right, and then what was the one with Matthew Broderick?
The Dragon movie with Matthew
It was the
Broderick,
Dragon
or
movie now.
are you talking about Lady Hawk?
Hawk.
Lady Hawk. That's
The
the one.
greatest possible film that could be made. Perfect.
Okay.
In every way.
In my
it
head,
makes
all three of
no
those are
error.
connected. Don't ask me how.
That's the best movie ever, though. It's got the perfect medieval music. To see, people would tell it the other way around. They'd be like, "You can't put rock music in a medieval setting," and I'm like, "No, that is the correct sound. Actually, you're just wrong about everything." Perfect.
They're all
Got Rutger Hauer in it.
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
adventure fantasy movies from the 80s or 90s that are connected in my memory.
Did you see Willow and
And Willow's connected to that too.
yeah?
Love me some Willow. That
And
80s fantasy vibe, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love the 80s fantasy.
Like
vibe.
I'm not sure what they were doing, but there was something to it that kind of linked all of these together. None of it would be on won't say none of it, but limited use of green screen, right? Like you're watching Lady Hawk, you're watching Dragonheart.
Never ending
Those two I
story.
can remember. There's a lot of on location shooting right there.
Oh yeah.
And then they're doing
that
it on
was-
film, which has a look to it. It's not that important, but it is important.
Well, that's people don't realize that was part of a long thread. Was part of the purpose of Hollywood TV and movies was so that those people that are in those circles could go to those places, right? So James Bond was filmed on location too. Why? Why would you waste your time? Well, because they wanted to go to those places, and so they're following a classic. Ideal. There's a TV show called The Saint, which I watch. I love The Saint. It's great. And it's all on location. It's all, Rome and Paris and, parts of England and all kinds of parts of Europe, all over the place. And each episode is someplace else, the Caribbean, the Philippines. Like it's all over the map. It's awesome.
So you're just
And
having
they're
somebody
there.
pay for you to have a 6-month vacation.
You're getting a vacation probably for 2 or 3 weeks while you're shooting in an exotic location, and it's a tax write-off. I don't know, man. It's and then they go, "Oh, they didn't get paid much back then," and it's like, I don't know. The bennies seem pretty high, and you might not even notice that, or you might think I'm lying about it or something. But Anthony Bourdain talked about this because he did the same thing. He did an on-location show and he's got a biography done by one of his longtime producers. And the guy said it. He used to say it all the time. What are you complaining about? We've got like the perfect life. And he was like, except I was too busy. I didn't enjoy any of those locations. For me, it was go, 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 go. But I'm sure it sounded though that he got 1 or 2 days to himself. But yeah, that was a brutal filming schedule. So Bourdain he didn't do any work. What did he care? He just get up and talk and whatever. So he had a great time. I don't think his staff necessarily did, but like that's actually what was going on there, right? Like it really isn't any more complicated than that. It's not. They don't really have these agendas that you think. It's kind of like, well, we want to do this. How can we make a TV show or a movie where we can get away with this shit? And it's like, well, there you go. That's how you do it. And that's why we have the media that we have to a large degree. It's just the whims of the upper class, granting us this wonderful stuff. And some of them are quite talented. So
after we release the board game and it sells, billions of copies, Mark, we can start making movies and get people to pay us to go on location filming wherever we want, right?
You can go on location in North Dakota. Yes, let's go.
No, we're doing that. I heard a rumor, Father, that FargoCon was going to happen, and we were all going to go there anyway to lovely North Dakota.
Yeah, well, the problem is that you've convinced me that this needs to be a thing for Catholic leaders, and at that point, I've got to change the format of it, right? Because all of a sudden, it has to come through official Catholic channels. So,
well, that's all right. You'll get it done.
Yeah. So we'll
the road
see.
To Popedom. This is it. It all started with FargoCon when everybody realized how brilliant Father Eric really was. He was needed in Rome. Just biding his time, waiting until the opening was right.
Your career doesn't really begin as a priest until you're at least 40, You spend the first 15 years figuring things out. So I bet you Bishop Barron didn't make a video for YouTube until he was 40. 35 minimum,
I wouldn't know. Know.
Well, there was this book that came out in evangelical spaces, I guess, like 20 years ago. How I Kissed Dating Goodbye.
Oh God, that one. Yeah, I've read that one.
Right. The guy who wrote it, he was like 21 or 22 years old, and this was like a bestseller, and they were handing it out to all the kids at the youth group, and it's like, you can't even be ordained a deacon at like 21 or 20. I remember me at 22, not ready to wear this. All right. Like, it was just, 25. That's the minimum for a priest right there. And like you're supervised heavily early on in your ministry if you're in a place where things are working properly. So it's just like, come on. People need a little bit of seasoning before they're ready for actual leadership, right? Like you don't throw the kids into the deep end,
Did you see that? You didn't see the video that went around, right? Where the guy who was a Protestant pastor was like on a podcast or whatever, and he's like, yeah, it's great. You start a church, you can do whatever you want. And then he sort of corrected himself, but it was too late because he said it out loud. And I was just like, yeah, it's Protestantism for you. Yeah,
what we have
to do whatever they want. Just start a church.
We have the codes. They have the codes here.
Yeah, but they're the anti-structure and rules people. Like that's what they are. It
depends. It depends on the denomination. Okay,
I will. The Catholic equivalent for the anti-structure people, you go with this: the Code of Canon for the Eastern churches.
Like, I will concede that certain Protestant churches are very, 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 very annoying to deal with. Okay, because they be like it's a lot of unofficial soft power. Like, we're all brethren here, everybody play nice, and then like the shadow, like you cross any line that you don't know is there, you get soft shunned like crazy. Like it's basically pretending to be Protestant while they're like anathemizing people. So like, yes, I will concede that there's a lot of very weird, gross things going on in Protestant land. But if you're gonna broad brush this, 95 theses, sorry, this is my little bit as the resident Presbyterian. Yes, okay, Presbyterians are really terrible Christians. What a surprise! We're all fallen human beings. Like, please say something more substantive than that if you're going to dunk on Protestants.
Sure. So I'll give an attempt at Mark's usual rants, and you tell me if I need to add anything. But Mark praises cooperation towards useful goals. He assesses cooperation towards useful goals at a very high level, right? I won't say that's the number one thing for him, but it's pretty high up there, right?
Right.
And so one of the things that anybody who's ever tried to do anything ever, if they've ever succeeded in doing something with of any real needing any real cooperation, they've had to have hierarchy and a certain amount of submission to that, right?
Yes.
And so
this is
when he looks at the flattening impulses of the Protestant Reformation,
it annoys him. Yes.
Right, and then he'll look at people who are worshippers of science, let's say.
Yes,
so not scientists necessarily.
Yes.
That's the same thing, but you're reducing the causalities down into a flattened plane there. So he can't see people who abuse the scientific method and scientific language, and people who are Protestant as actually being any different. They're the same people.
Right.
So he uses these giant broad brush strokes to
everything Mark doesn't like is Protestantism. I understand that.
No, not at all.
I know. I'm being a little bit exaggerated right now. I'm because I'm sorry, you've triggered me, and I also get very broad brush
rules, and they still don't like structure. And that's
I still don't like rules. I still don't like rules, and I still don't like structures. That's my temperament talking, not my Protestantism. Okay, I am a Presbyterian I'm a Presbyterian not because yes, it's related to my temperament, but the Presbyterianism didn't make me this disagreeable. I am disagreeable despite whatever else is going on with my religion. All right, I would be just as disagreeable as a Roman Catholic. And I'm trying not to inflict myself on Father Eric very much, because Father Eric is not my personal confessor. He doesn't need to hear my long list of whatever weirdness is going on in my life. I offered to tell him about it, but he's like, no, you don't need to say that to me not on
the internet, not in front of everybody.
Do it.
Right. It has to be in the sanctity of a thing. And I'm like, no.
Sermon.
Huh?
Presbyterians
are all about rules, but good stuff. But Presbyterians also respect freedom of conscience enough that if like at a certain level of making asking somebody to respect their authority, they don't push past a certain amount. Like, it's like, okay, I go, because this is story time now. So when I was going through catechism as a Presbyterian, we were going through the Westminster one of the Westminster confessions, I forget which one. And then, we got to the part on on predestination, and especially double predestination. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like I mean, okay, I can see the chapter and verses that support this position, but I also don't see why I need to take it as doctrine, right? So I went back and forth with my pastor for a while about this, and he's like, you know what? It's fine. You don't need to be 100% on board with the catechism at this point. Just for the rest of it, you can pray. You can pray to the Holy Spirit to help you, right? And I'm like, oh, I am so relieved. Thank you. Right. Like, a lot of people don't do that for me. Like, the only reason I am not like a frothing, raving anti-Catholic is because my maternal uncle, he's a RCC deacon. He sat with me and he explained how a lot of the things I believed about Roman Catholicism is actually basically like a straw man. And then he gave me the steel man version. And I'm like, okay, I can see why as a Roman Catholic you would take that as doctrine, but I'm not a Roman Catholic. I don't think I can in good conscience take it as doctrine. And then he kind of just smiled at me, and he's like, and then he didn't push me to become Catholic, right? Like I'm okay. Like the only reason I am this ecumenical about Roman Catholicism was that a Roman Catholic person sat with me and didn't actually do the thing that I always tease Eric about, anathemize, right? He actually didn't say anathema and, heresy and excommunicando. Like, he didn't do any of that. He was willing to actually engage with me where at the level I was, instead of calling me names. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now that we're not in an adversarial position, I can actually entertain your side, but I still can't, but I can be ecumenical, but I can't be Catholic, not yet. And then he's like, God, and he thinks that I will end up Catholic sooner or later. Maybe it'll take until paradise, but maybe not. Maybe I have to spend a few eternities in limbo before I become Catholic, but that's okay.
Purgatory, not limbo.
Purgatory, yeah. And then I'm sure
Come on, let's go.
So yeah, all of you people will need to do 5 billion indulgences to get me out of purgatory.
5 billion. I think you're. This isn't like Zimbabwe dollars here. You've got
like,
real currency.
See,
here.
you won't
Treasury
listen
of
to my
Merit.
sins. You don't know how many sins I have to work off in purgatory.
Oh, you people are always the most hilarious in the confessional, right? Because they'll be building themselves up, man. Like, oh man, I'm such a bad sinner, Father. I hope you're ready for my confession, because this is going to be a legendary confession.
Legendary. Well,
and then they come in with the most vanilla ass sins that you've ever heard in your life, right?
Yes.
The old standard old sins of the flesh here.
Yes,
I've heard it 1,000 times before, and I'll hear it 1,000 times again before I die. Get over yourself. That's not really all that specifically directed at you.
Yeah, I know. But I actually am anathema still, according to the Castle of Trent. I will never get over that. Sorry. And I will also never get over the Chinese rights controversy. Sorry. Those are the two beefs I still have.
Yeah. No, that one you can be a little bit bitter about that.
Did the Council of Trent speak to you or something? Like, this is a very strange way to talk.
I'm actually not seriously beefy about the Council of Trent. I just think it's funny that the Council of Trent literally calls people like me anathema, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm a filthy Protestant, still anathema according to the Council of Trent. Nobody has taken that back ex cathedra, right? Saying, whoops, that was the wrong anathema. We will no longer anathemize according to that, right? Because
there's a lot worse things to be in life than anathema. Oh, this is very vanilla stuff.
I don't know. I don't know, because apparently there's no salvation outside of the church. So being anathema means something. I don't know. Maybe you live 80 billion years in limbo. I don't know how many years.
It's a very Protestant way to think about the world.
Purgatory.
Yeah. Limbo, purgatory. I don't know. I don't understand Roman. I wasn't catechized as a Roman Catholic, so you're gonna have to.
Catholics don't have these formulations. You're just bitching about Protestant formulations.
It's fine, right? So see, I'm not listening to you because you're not talking to me like, you're not engaging with me. You're not engaging with me. You're dismissive. I'm sorry. Your tone is very dismissive. So I'm like, okay. I don't need to listen to somebody that's that dismissive, right? Like, I'm also not necessarily being serious. The actual beef I have is, again, the Chinese rights controversy, where you guys said that you guys first said that we were not allowed to honor our own sages and ancestors because that was idolatry, and then you quietly took it back.
The Franciscans said that. The Jesuits were arguing in favor of this can be tolerated. So, and then the Franciscans won over the Pope, and lots of people in the Catholic world will look at that and say that is the greatest missed opportunity of all time, because we were about to get a lot of the Chinese ruling class into Catholicism, and the people would have probably followed there. So I'm happy to
Yeah,
inform
so-
you
so-
that the
mhm.
Council of Trent and the anathemas pronounced by the Council of Trent
Mm-hmm.
do not have any juridic force. We see this
Ooh,
in
yay.
the 19 now juridic force, right? They have doctrinal force, certainly,
Right,
but
right.
Canon 6 of the 1983 code says that when this code comes into force, November 25th, 1983, the following are abrogated. All penal laws enacted by the Apostolic See, whether universal or particular, unless they are resumed, which is an interesting translation, in this code itself right there, right? So even though the Council of Trent would certainly still have teaching force as an act of the extraordinary magisterium, we would not say that the anathemas pronounced by them still have juridic effect in themselves. And so if you're going to be properly anathematized, you would go through a process where you would have an opportunity to recant. And if that hasn't happened to you, then you're not actually anathematized now. So
Darn. I can
hopefully-
only claim anathema as a comic bit. Then my actual beef is still the other one.
You know, there's nothing like having a canon lawyer in here to ruin your fun, which I apparently have done with
Father Eric the Fun Police. Alas.
Yep. Now I happen to think that ruining people's fun is an awful lot of fun there. But you know.
All right. So from now on, when I call myself, a filthy Protestant according to Trent, I'm actually not serious about that.
Yep.
Right.
In fact, there would be some very conciliatory statements made by John Paul II that says, well, we obviously can't call the descendants of people who like if you grew up in another tradition. And I know your family history is complicated. We don't need to rehearse all of that right now. We can't call them all heretics and schismatics because like they just grew up in a church.
Right.
They didn't actually rebel or reject against any authority. They just think this is how things are, right?
Right.
So
And
we're not gonna worry about that. Not gonna worry about that too much.
Right, and then depending on how applicable you guys think Credo Catholicism is, apparently, both sides of my family tree are very Credo Catholic.
Yeah, well, I'd say canon law rarely ever gets inflicted on people who are not priests or hold some kind of church office.
Yeah.
We've got,
That's what I
wouldn't say it is a little bit condescending towards the people in the pews there. If they're not causing too much trouble, even if they're wrong about something, we don't bring the hammer down. It's only if they're getting into a place where they're teaching something wrong, but usually the local pastor would just handle that. Say, you can't go around saying that anymore. So I've never anathematized anybody.
I know, that's so disappointing. You don't even post the GIF except as a joke, and then it's like,
Yeah, well, maybe maybe it's better to not go around and just anathematize people all the time.
Probably not.
I've had this idea. I have no idea how I could ever pull it off, but it would be like a joke, a sketch making fun of like young Catholics who are a little over their skis, let's say, where you've got like some people sitting around in a living room, and like they're like one of them's like 20 and is like trying to explain some doctrinal point, and there's this other guy who's thinking about becoming Catholic, and he's just like trying to follow and he's trying to be in on it, but like the guy's just making complete nonsense out of this, and all of a sudden somebody bursts into the room and says, "You guys want to trad out?" And they all start treading out. And so the one guy's got a bishop's crozier and he just starts anathematizing things. So he anathematizes the couch. It goes flying across the room and blows up, anathematizes all of the dishes in the drawer. It's just all blowing up all over the place. And then the pastor comes in. It's like, hey, stop anathematizing everything. So there's like half of a comedy sketch right there. Somebody Somebody turn that into something so I can watch it because it's really funny up in my head.
Well, see, I'm a very naughty person, so I would end the sketch with something like a bunch of like cage stage Roman Catholics are anathemizing things very sloppily, and then you're trying to be you're trying to play peacemaker, and then like they keep listening to you, and then like the next person that anathemizes something is anathema, and that's the end of the sketch.
No. Sorry. The way it resolves is it's actually like a Full House resolution. So you literally have the cheesy electric piano going on in the background. Like, all right, now, Danny, what happened when you anathematized the couch? Well, I lit the couch on fire, didn't I, Father? You lit the couch on fire.
Yeah, I might do a decent job of that, actually.
Or we could do the Deus Volt thing that I cheekily suggested.
Deus Volt, yeah. Well, the context on that was I anathematized. I do actually want to do this. Is I want to anathematize anybody who produces or sells images of our Lord and Our Lady that are generated by infernal intelligence.
Right. And so I was like, Father Eric, why don't you go sprinkle holy water on a server farm? And I mispronounced Deus Volt as Deus Volt, VOLT.
VOLT.
And then he's like, well, you can't, no, I don't want Deus Amperes.
Deus Amperes. Deus Amperes is the one you really got to watch out for there.
Exactly. and then I had to surrender because I was like, I can't top that. Dang it.
Okay, so there was a thing I saw weeks ago where the Pope put out a tweet or something saying that we needed more writers writing good stories or something.
Yeah, and the way those tweets work is he's either published something or given an address, and then the communications office clips a part of it out because it sounds like it'll do numbers on social media, and then they pop it there. So you're getting it completely erased from context, but go on.
Okay, I was just wondering if that was like we need like a crusade of writers. Is that what we're good writing?
A writing crusade.
Yeah,
I mean,
we need like a
that's not
writing
get
crusade
the
here.
Fired up, but like we could do it. There's no rules against it. We could do a writing.
Hey, as a former veteran of the meme wars,
thank you for your service, Dot.
I would volunteer to make some Catholic memes, but I don't know how that would work. Like, would my Catholic memes be licit, given that I'm a Presbyterian?
Listen, memes follow the rule of the jungle. If it gets shared and if it gets liked, then we're happy about it.
Great. I am so doing that Deus Ampere meme.
Yeah, we seem stuck with the better stories will save the world nonsense lately. Dismaying to hear that the Pope fell for that. But
well,
it seems like we have a lot.
Mark. Come on. He was probably talking to a room full of Catholic writers. I'm not going to guarantee that was the context.
That's okay, right? But you know what we need less of? Catholic writers in particular. We just need fewer writers, period.
Okay.
Well, we need at least one more doctor of the church, right? We should at least have another doctor of the church come out.
Yeah, well, we've got,
Benedict
XVI will probably be a doctor of the church someday, and I look forward to that. And Hans Kuhn won't. So there you have it.
How many doctors does the church have?
Like 26 or 28, something like that.
That's a lot of doctors already. I mean, I don't think we need a lot more than that, do you? You just need to read the ones that you have, right?
Well,
this is an East Asian Tiger Mom joke. Sorry, like the insanely high expectations East Asian Tiger Mom. Roman Catholic version. Why are you not the doctor of the church yet, son?
Because you can't be one while you're alive.
At least get an MDiv. Or a
you can't
THT.
Why are you not a saint yet? Because you can't be canonized when you're still alive? Don't talk to me again until you're dead.
Exactly.
what would
I want
happen.
at least three confirmed miracles out of you, son.
This is why they can't win Asia, Father. You just got to change the rules, or you're never going to get Asia.
You don't understand how insanely high expectation East Asians are, Father Eric.
I don't. You're right. I do not understand. It is foreign to me. I will just sit here ignorantly and just have my continued modest expectations placed upon me.
In China, Jesus has to be literally the little brother to Zhuge Liang in order for Jesus to even trend in certain places, because they worship Zhuge Liang as the savior of the world. And so they're like, why do I need Jesus? I already have Zhuge Liang at home. And so they're like, well, what if he were Jesus? What if Jesus were Zhuge Liang's little brother? And they're like, okay, I guess, we'll put him in the pantheon.
Are you trying to tell me that social media is this like a social media trending that you're talking about here?
No. This is apparently a claimed real historical event. So like some flavor of preachers went into like the former Shu lands, the Three Kingdoms area, like I guess where they have pandas and stuff, like Southeast China, and they started preaching the gospel there, right? And all the locals kind of went, why am I going to worship Jesus as Lord when I already worship, Kong Ming, right? The prime minister, the former prime minister of Shuhan that worked himself to death, and like several people basically worship him as God the Father. So they're like, yeah, we already have a Lord at home. His name is Zhuge Liang. And so they were very resistant to the gospel until whoever was preaching went, what if Jesus were the little brother of your Zhuge Liang? And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. We'll put him in the pantheon. So Jesus joined the pantheon of the Chinese pagan transactional deities like that. I don't know how Christian that place is now, but that was the first time they preached the gospel successfully there, and I'm like, okay, whatever works, I guess.
What century was this?
Probably sometime around. Well, I mean, supposedly, right? People still worship, like people still wear white mourning clothes for him in those places, even as late as World War II, right? When America was sending aid into China to fight the Chinese Civil War and against the Japanese for World War II, they ran into people still wearing white mourning headbands for Zhuge Liang, because he was basically the putative father of that entire area. The second father to a lot of people, and they're like, we honor him great. They basically worship him as God the Father. And so apparently, like somewhere in that, as soon as they were able to send missionaries in that direction, they tried it. So this is probably late Qing dynasty, maybe. When they blew open the doors of missionaries with British cannons, but so they went there and they preached the gospel, and they were like, yeah, we already have God.
Were these Catholic missionaries or were these Protestant missionaries?
I'm not sure. It's probably Catholic, but I don't know. It might be Jesuits again. Who knows? But because this is something I read off of, like, somebody making content on Chinese BreadTube, the Bilibili. So I don't remember exactly, but like something like Jesus, the little brother of Zhuge Liang. Let me see if I can find it, and you guys talk while I find that.
Yeah. It reading about Matteo Ricci in China, that would be, I think, a few hundred years before what you're talking about. Is really interesting how he was trying to crack China for evangelization. He started off, dressing as a monk, and because he thought, oh well, their monks are like our monks, and it's like, well, no, actually, being a monk in China is apparently not a sign of learning. At least it wasn't in the 1600s. It was, it was maybe a sign of discipline and a certain sort of sanctity, but it wasn't a sign of like, the monasteries didn't have the intellectual intellectual cadence that they would have in Europe as the places that held on to learning there, and then so then he figured out that he had to, like, I'm not sure I've got the right word for this, but he had to dress like somebody in the administrative class. Somebody who would have gone through their Chinese prep schools for service in the bureaucracy. I'm sure there's a proper word for that. Then when he started dressing like that, he, was like sending the right signals in the Chinese culture. And what the noblemen that he was interacting with were really interested in was his cartography, because Europe had made big strides in cartography very recently, and he knew, I guess, enough about it to be competent in the European cartography techniques that the Chinese were really interested in having better maps for things. And so that's how and I think astronomy, he was a competent astronomer as well. Maybe he introduced some things like the Gregorian calendar, and showed how the Jesuits at the Vatican Observatory had come up with extremely precise measurements for these things. And the Jesuits in China were much more open to, allowing and integrating a lot of the ancestral veneration, we could say. And I think in the modern American usage, you could look at that as veneration and not quite worship there. And allowing that to go alongside the veneration of the saints and the worship of God. So, but then the Franciscans came in and they were freaked out at what the Jesuits were up to, and then the Pope told them to stop. So,
oops,
that whole thing just got kind of blown up there, and so we'll get another grow at that some century or another.
Yeah, so I'm still looking for who. Right now, I'm looking at several like news kind of edutainment kind of papers, not scholarly ones. But apparently, this happened in somewhere in the early 20th century, and every article I'm reading is just saying, evangelists from the West. So they're not bothering with distinguishing who these evangelists are. But yeah, let me see. You could probably let me just drop let me drop one that's actually fairly educational, but it's all in Chinese. And then you
do any of those have a year on them?
Yeah. Let me see if I could find that. Like I said, early 20th century. Well, this one just is a. Let me see if I could find the one that has a year. Let me just drop this one because this one is like a full. This one's very educational and not just. Oops. Let me post that to private chat, and then you can bring it up if you want.
Okay, as long as it's not a Rickroll.
It's not a Rickroll. Let me see. Let me see if I can find the actual year again. Doopy doopy doo.
Sure hope that isn't a Rickroll or anything like that.
Okay, yeah.
Good luck, everybody. Click at your own risk.
Approximately in 1933 or 1944 in Miandian, so Myanmar. Myanmar's English troops found that's the Myanmar's. In the 19th, at the end of the 19th century, actually. So late 19th century, early 20th century, the claim was that God had two sons. The older son was Kongming, the younger son was Jesus. And then now that Kongming's retired, here comes Jesus to help, carry the burden.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reading this and I am dying of cringe, but I guess it worked, ? I don't know. Right.
No,
my own very Buddhist folklore grandma also prays to Jesus because she's like, yeah, Jesus answers prayers. She also prays to everybody else because, why keep your eggs in one basket? Right. And it's like, Lord have mercy on her. right? And that's all I can say, because now she's dead. So, oops. I guess one of the reasons I could be Roman Catholic would be to do, to do all the indulgences for my dead loved ones. But
You could just always have masses offered. You don't have to be Catholic for that.
Okay, so yeah, Father Eric holds some masses for my all of my ancestors all the way up that tree of wherever they connect to the universal history. Okay.
Yep. Just shoot me a few names and I'll see what I could do.
I mean, I could forward you my entire family tree.
Yeah, let's keep this at least to people that you met.
I mean, I've met at least 5 of my dad's brothers and sisters.
Okay.
I think. So
that's a number I can handle. I can handle 5.
All right, I will ask my dad.
And then you know how to find me on Discord. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a little interested in what Denise has got here. Japan blocked missionaries from entry by placing a miraculous medal and required that they tried it on before receiving entry passes.
Well,
I don't know how that would block. I don't know how that would block a missionary. If you gave me a miraculous medal, I'd be like, "Thanks, bro."
Yeah, like. Well, I know one of the things that Japan did to find Catholics was to put a picture, right, a portrait of either Jesus or our mother with holding the baby Jesus, and say, "Step on this portrait to prove that you have given up Catholicism, or we kill you."
No, that would work.
Right, like that was actually a thing that the Japanese government did to Catholics, was that, and then. The ones that actually recanted, a lot of the Japanese lords still killed them because they're like, "No, we don't trust that you actually gave up your faith. What if you're raising your babies Catholic secretly? Go die." Right? So they had to hide really well. They had to hide so well that nobody knew that there were Catholics in China or in Japan until Matthew Perry blew the doors of Japan open.
That's pretty typical though for groups, like all of them ever.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they did that with all the converted Jews to Catholicism too. They were like, "Yeah, we don't trust most of you. You're gonna get rid of you anyway." Yeah, that's extremely common human pattern.
It's stupid tribal politics are everywhere.
Of all the bad things the Japanese do, that ain't one of them. That's
yes, exactly. Japanese have done some very horribly evil things.
It's not specially wrong. It's just normal levels of wrong.
Yes.
Average wrong.
Yeah, not even the rape of Nanking is all that wrong, unfortunately.
I mean, if we're talking about the norm of history here, then according to the norm of history, that's a pretty normal thing that human beings do to each other.
Yeah.
If we're talking about what God would ask of us, then.
But I mean, I just think it's really funny that in the West, the Nazis are the big bad evil people, and I'm like, no. The Nazis were horrified at what they saw in Nanking, like absolutely horrified. And they're like, did you know? Take our Nazi flags and hang them over our buildings. The Japanese will leave those alone. So
yeah. Well, you can't. I think part of the horror at the Nazi regime was the fact that it came out of a democratic process and that it came out of the most technically advanced country in the world.
Right.
Yep.
And so it's
and the one we were rebuilding.
Yeah.
Everybody misses the rebuilding part.
Yeah.
And there were also the victims. Because France, there's no excuse for what France did in the Treaty of Versailles.
Oh, France is absolutely revolting. They keep changing governments at revolutions per decade, and that's why France is so effed up.
So it's more that like we were at one point looking at Germany as an ideal of what we might want to be. And then we saw the way that they ended up, and that's where the abject horror come from. So it's not a matter of quantity. It might not even be a matter of quality, but it's a matter of who's doing it. That can be something, like
Yeah.
I remember this was like over a year ago, but this Huberman guy with Andrew Huberman does basically like stoicism with a scientific veneer on the top of it, which is fine. You could do that if that's what gets people to move in a good direction. Then I'm not going to complain about it too much. But there was something about him having relationships with multiple women. And I don't remember how that went, but like he's not a Christian. He wasn't married. So, I look at that and I'm like, well, I don't think that's what he should be doing. I'm all about marriage. We've got tons of canons on marriage. I'm kind of an expert on them now. But like by his own, moral system and by like a lot of the moral systems of the people that are judging him, like he didn't really do all that much wrong. Whereas if I was doing that, we're talking serious problems here.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
should be expelled from ministry and had my social support cut off if I were doing that sort of thing. So
Yeah, but see, when let me very quickly just bring my axe out really quick and just kind of swing. When people say that somebody is bad because they're in multiple relationships with women, they are not measuring them by Christian standards. They're measuring them by this guy is a scumbag who sleeps with multiple women. Never mind that the women probably all wanted to sleep with him. It's just the fact that he is sleeping with multiple women makes him evil. Women most affected swing. All right. Sorry.
okay,
I had to do
good. You got that out of your system. You feeling better now?
a little bit, yes.
Okay.
I don't have to scream about it now. I can just cheek about it. It's like I hate women most affected, but I'm mostly over screaming about it now.
Good. It's better for your voice
Yes.
to not constantly be shrieking.
Well, I trained in choir, so I know how to project without hurting my throat very much. But yeah, I probably shouldn't scream anyway. It's not good for my overall health.
I tell you what is good for your health is a good bit of exercise there. I had such a good leg day today because I had a very frustrating day working on my thesis, and it was both, a few interactions with people who are important to my thesis. One of them in particular was rather frustrating, and then the second thing was evil, was formatting the page numbers.
Oh no! Oh no!
In Microsoft Word.
Oh no!
And
Google
that
Docs.
was just
Google Docs,
like,
Father Eric.
It's a good thing that all of my hair is already gone because I would have ripped it out. It's just absolutely infuriating. But I made the machine bend to my will.
Yay, Father Eric!
Like
learned
I just figured out its stupid machine language and I pressed it down. And I attribute all of that to Our Lady's intercession, because when I was getting very frustrated, I said, Mother Mary, help me to speak to this machine. And then the insight that I needed to unlink the first section from the second section in order to make sure that the title page didn't have any numbers on it.
Yep.
Just
see, you're lucky.
And then I went to the gym and I squatted heavy and I just felt so good after that. So
see, you're lucky that the right Mary answered you, because if you prayed to me, I would have answered back, learn to code.
I don't think that's luck. I think that's just common sense.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, my real name is also Mary. This is why, I'm like, every time you guys say Mother Mary, I'm like,
You're the only Mary I've ever heard complain about that.
A little bit.
I know lots of Marys, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know. You're Roman Catholic. Everybody and their sister in Roman Catholic land is named
There's
Mary.
Marys and Josephs all over the place.
Yes.
We've got 3 Josephs in the seminary for the Diocese of Fargo, right? 3, right? So it's like I can't say Joseph. I've got to say like their last names.
Yeah.
Because
like Joseph, Joe, and Jojo, probably, or something like that.
I don't know them that well. I've got to keep a certain authority over them because I'm the one who's directing them for liturgies and stuff, and I have to be able to say, if you try and do a 360 with a thurible, you will never serve for me again. And have them take it seriously. So
you have to do the full name ultimatum.
yeah. So I'm not going to be coming in there and calling any of them Joey or Jojo or something like that.
Alas.
But they're all good kids. All of them
Yay.
know not to do 360s with a thurible, right? So you know what I mean? You got the big smoker thing. In the West, we don't do 360s with those.
Right.
Alas.
In the East has their own tradition. They can do their Eastern traditions. They can hook their bells up to their sensors and swing them around however they want. But in the West, our liturgies and rituals are understated.
Is Roman Catholicism the one with the big giant incense thing that's like the size of a really big bell?
That is the Cathedral of St. James in Santiago.
Ooh. So that is Roman Catholic, yeah?
Right, and that's like, there's
That's
one
about-
of those.
that's
we
about
just
as-
kind of let the Spaniards do that.
Yes, that's about as over the top you let the Spaniards get, yeah?
Yeah, the Spaniards are going to get like that every once in a while. This one's for the glory of God, so we'll let them be at peace. We can keep all the nations together, hopefully.
Yeah, we
And they did win, and the Spain did win the World Cup this time.
Yes.
So.
Hooray,
World
Spain.
Cup.
Congratulations.
I did not watch the World Cup very much.
I just followed along the updates on the internet. But
the Pope likes Real Madrid, so the Pope's power there.
You think so, huh? Is there?
Didn't he claim on the plane right over that the man behind the Pope is a fan of Real Madrid, and then while he was very ecumenical as the Pope, he's like, the real man, Robert Frost, is Real Madrid, or something like that.
Okay, I see. Maybe he did say that on a plane ride.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I usually that would not be a particularly weighty statement.
Yeah.
Of the Roman Pontiff. That would be something a little bit lighthearted and humanizing, which
Yes,
occasionally
yes.
is a useful thing to do. So
Yes, but it's funny that I think it's funny that the Pope is a fan of Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So funny, I forgot to laugh.
Yeah,
Aww.
I think it's funny that so many people love soccer where they just writhe in pain from the slightest contact on the ground. I could honor the sport. You've got athleticism. They're running for like an hour straight. So that's like, I could honor it. You've got skill, all that stuff they're doing with their feet. It's got a long tradition. It's got a comprehensible rule set, but all of the daggone flopping, it's just dishonorable, right? It is just plain dishonorable. You go to a hockey match, right? And like the guy's jaw will be hanging off. Like, no, put me in, coach. I could still play, right?
Like
they're all actually actors. That's the problem. You think it's
right?
really
what do we think of actors? What do we think of actors here? Does anybody here honor actors?
Actors are only barely more respectable than prostitutes and lawyers.
Oh, they're not that respectable.
Barely more because back in China, the way you made extra money as an actor was you sold extra services under the table to a rich enough pervert. And then you bent over and took it up where the sun didn't shine from that rich
Yes,
pervert.
we understand what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not in China. I don't know if you know that,
Yeah.
but
the old that kind of thing is not unique to China, but it's just something I know as a Chinese person.
Yeah, no, what's actually more unique is the fact that people look up to actors in America. That's the problem. Everybody else had this right.
We accidentally, I guess this one you can sort of blame on Protestants. We iconoclasted everything and then we put the idols right back in. Oops. I will concede that one as a Protestant thing.
Yeah, you didn't put them back in. They just never went away because they were never.
Because you can't.
They found new vessels.
There are certain things that aren't optional. And
We cleaned
cleaning
house and
up
we
a
left it
little bit.
empty. Oops. So we got worse and more demons.
It's like I love being here in Washington D.C. Right? It's like you go to the Lincoln Memorial,
Yeah.
literally says it's a temple.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
Says it
know,
right there.
like
Yeah. We you know,
this
the
was
civil,
the Protestants
the
who were
civil,
putting this up,
yes.
right? Not the
Yes.
Catholics.
Yeah, like, you know, Lord Cromwell can't even.
Yeah,
Lord
it's
Victor
just
Cromwell would spin so fast in his grave that you could hook him up and get electricity out of him.
we could power all the AI data centers. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Cromwell was mostly a liar. So imagine being in a country and the Puritans are the ones in charge, and
Yes.
they cancel Christmas and they
Yes.
shut down all the theaters. And you're
Yes.
doing a documentary about this, and you're somehow unable to realize that Cromwell is the bad guy and the king is the good guy. Imagine that. So there's a on Amazon Prime. There's a documentary from the BBC.
Yeah, but to be fair,
beheading
right?
of
To
the
be
king.
fair, the gross commercial modern Christmas probably does deserve to be canceled a little bit, right?
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't have
that
to be
wasn't what
totally
was happening back then.
I know.
So-
It wasn't.
but
Cromwell
then it's
thought that
not fair.
people were being too drunken, disorderly for Cromwell's taste, so he's like, I'm banning Christmas. And
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
how
And
you
shutting
know
down
who the
all the
bad guy
theaters.
is.
mhm.
All
Hmm?
the theaters shut down.
Yeah, all the theaters shut down. So I mean, that's
And
the
then they
charity.
can't, and the Brits can't figure out that those were the bad guys.
Yeah, because the Brits,
Kind of.
the Brits effed themselves with a lot more things than just Protestantism.
Yeah, and I think
all
it's
the things
also
are
useful
downstream.
to note the meteoric rise of Halloween, and if you look forward to celebrating Halloween more than celebrating Christmas, then I don't trust you.
Yeah.
It's one
I
of
mean,
those.
oh-
I trust them to be evil.
Yeah,
Very
see,
good, Mark. Very good.
the people who ironically become satanic often become unironically satanic. Oops.
Yeah, well, you invoke something often enough, eventually it's actually going to show up.
Yeah. and you
Irony
won't
might
like
be a problem. Yeah, it might be really bad for you.
Yeah. So
Let your yes mean yes and no mean no. Can you get on board with that, Dot?
yes, I can get on board with that.
Yeah, that reminds me of the that recent Matthew Peugeot video,
Oh, that was so
which
good.
was really good.
I mean, I take that so literally. I can't even play social deduction games because, like, if I'm scum in a social deduction game and you ask me point blank if I'm scum, I literally can't lie to save my own life. I just go,
Thomas Aquinas would approve of that. So would Saint Augustine. They were pretty hardcore on the use of language, in that any use of language that was not communicating the truth was intrinsically evil, because it is of the nature of language to communicate the truth.
Yeah. And then those jerks, the logicians came up with something like, everything I say is a lie, tee hee.
Yeah. So don't worry about logicians, though. They're not even a good wizard build. So
Yeah.
the only time they were ever dangerous was in Final Fantasy Tactics, when they were mathematicians.
Yes, mathemagic is the best kind of magic. Father Eric understands. Yay.
Yeah. I never actually had any mathematicians in my party. I was always a little scared of how complicated the move set was in trying to figure it out. But apparently they just did math and people took damage.
Yeah, but you didn't actually need to do the math. You could just highlight. You could just look at what units were highlighted when you picked the spell.
See, I never even tried it, so I.
A shame. Maybe I can stream Final Fantasy Tactics for you and show off the power of math. No,
I don't think I'd watch.
Yeah,
Nothing personal.
He doesn't. Father Eric doesn't want to behold the power of mathemagic.
I really don't. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see,
I
Jan
don't. I
God's
don't.
never
I
explained
left.
what
I
I
have
said.
not taken a math class since the year of our Lord 2012.
Wow. I mean,
I
I
took my
don't think
3
I've taken.
credits of required math from my liberal arts degree, and I've
Mm,
left that behind. If I
mm.
need math done, I will find a nerd and I will have him do my math for me. I am
Yes,
here to lead.
yes, distributed cognition. That is the way.
And we're tying this all back in with the very beginning of the rant here is that I could manage the math, but I never particularly enjoyed it. So
Uh,
just having
I
somebody else take care of that for me.
I only actually enjoy arithmetic. I like abstract mathematics broke my brain. I bounced off of linear algebra. I did not
Look at
understand
this. Look at
advancement
this. Jan God and
for
I
the
are in
indivisible.
unambiguous agreement for the second time tonight. Like
What?
Yeah, delegating is for pros.
Apocalypse.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible, right? Moses was trying to carry the entire all of the people of Israel by himself, like 1 million people. And then his father-in-law looked at that and went, "No, what you are doing is not good. You are working yourself into the grave, and you are not serving anybody. What you need to do is delegate to trustworthy people, pray over them, and have them receive the same spirit you have."
I have it on good authority from the Archbishop of Canterbury that God does not deal in hierarchies. So I don't know about that.
What? I have no idea what
Oh,
Mark
Mark,
just mumbled.
that's 10 out of 10 right there. You keep that line in your back pocket.
Oh, don't worry, Father. It's in there. It's in there. Oh, by the way, Father, you'd be happy to know
That's a
that
real quote,
Ryan,
isn't it?
you can't undo it, right? I have it on good authority from the Archbishop of Canterbury that you can't. It's always a home run grand slam, right? Every time. So, yeah, you can't miss. You can't miss.
Oh,
But
man.
I have it on good authority from Ryan Reeves that make Final Cause great again. So
Oh, yeah, well.
he liked my response to his tweet. So very, very good stuff. Very good stuff. It's not just us. We're not the only ones noticing this. That's all I'm saying. It's out there. It's out there. People are seeking out Aristotle.
Good. Maybe we can all converge and something good will happen.
Hopefully.
Isn't that a big new age thing, right? We're going to have the harmonic convergence.
In the age of Aquarius.
Well, that was the Flannery O'Connor story. Everything that rises must converge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, that turned into the singularity when they put it in physics terms.
Oops.
But yeah. Don't tell the physicists; they'll get all upset that they're retarded, and they just don't know it.
Hey, but because they are that retarded, they finally realized that they shouldn't have dethroned theology as the queen of sciences, because now every field of science is getting turbo owned by a certain religion that calls itself, diversity, right, equity, and inclusivity.
Yeah, those people aren't learning anything ever. They're all...
The long march of the institutions continues.
Well, they're not going to take over the institution of the Monday night open mic.
Yes, Father Eric.
This is ruled monarchically.
Father Eric is too powerful for the mooks of Day to do a single thing to him.
They can inconvenience me.
Even if they kill him, they would only make him more powerful.
All right. Sally's upset about something.
Well, that's the Matthew Peugeot thing. Subtle bodies was the
subtle bodies.
Yeah,
it was one of the big topics. It's one of his better talks. And the best news about that talk was that got me over 10,000 views on my talk with him.
Ooh!
Oh, I now have a video with 10,000 views.
Congratulations!
Thank you. That's not on my stupid channel. where I don't want 10,000 views.
Just remember, if you're chasing trends, you're chasing clicks.
Yep.
I did kind of do that to myself on the other channel. That is true. I didn't do it on purpose. I was genuinely just pissed off. But yeah.
So what are we all excited about with subtle bodies? That's like a really obscure point of theology right there.
Well, it was a thing about the demons is that they object to form.
Demons object to form.
Yeah.
That tracks if you're just set on destruction and you're not able to repent. Then yeah, that follows.
Yeah.
It was the snake uses the chaos to attack forms, and Eve or the woman uses chaos to like enhance the forms.
Right. Just his explanation was particularly Petersonian for Protestants. Wouldn't work for people who have no religious affiliation, but it was really, really good. His level of clarity and for me, he put in very small, simple steps when he was explaining and describing the ethereal stuff, and people really, I think, resonated with it. I mean, in order for that to boost my channel the way it did, and I'm still feeling the effects, that meant he got a lot of new audience that had never heard him before, or had heard him before, but not so clearly, because my channel went nuts. Like I was 20 views a day, just all of a sudden out of nowhere. And I was like, why is this happening? I was like, oh, I see.
Because it's getting recommended probably.
Yeah. But
well, people are looking up Matthew Peugeot, and they look up other Matthew Peugeot videos, and that one comes up as well. So,
well, it's more recent, but also other videos have come and gone, and they didn't get anything like that for boosts. So there's something about that one that's drawing people to his work, and that because I've got a video with him, that draws them to my channel. Probably got a couple of subs out of it. I'm not sure, but I could look it up. But I don't care about those stupid numbers quite so much, so I won't.
Yeah. People sub to a lot of channels, so it's got to be careful with that number. Got to be careful with all the numbers. The numbers will lie.
Yep.
They don't say what you think they say.
Mm-hmm.
They're a mirror. They tell you what you want to hear.
It just basically makes it like static, right? You can start to see pattern, like, I am old enough to remember, static on the TV, and if you stared at it long enough, you'd start to see something.
Yep. We're pattern finding machines.
There was a whole horror movie about that, where, gosh, yeah, that was divination that guy was doing. So,
oops, you weren't supposed to do that, kids.
Yeah, it's got consequences. Wonder how that static formlessness mirrors. There's some connection there, but we're getting near the end of the stream here, and my capacity to make connections is decaying.
Yeah, I've heard the internet compared to the Library of Babel.
What?
I don't know if you've heard of that.
Not once.
Well, you know
Library of Babel.
Yeah, the Library of Babel. This is like a concept from somebody where, like, imagine you had a library that's everything anybody, every kind of potential text of
they've made that before.
And then so you'll never read any information out of it, because any random book you grab is much more likely to be complete nonsense than has anything worth reading.
No, the people have actually made that.
What, the
where
library
they
of
where
Babel?
they have all of the books ever procedurally generated when you are in a particular place
Yeah.
there. Um, and so you can find whatever you want to find in that, but you can't actually locate. They have tools to locate these things that can understand the algorithm. And so if you want to find, As You Like It by Shakespeare, it'll tell you what data point where that particular string would start on.
I thought it
But
was just the internet.
no. It's a clever program, right? It's a clever
No, I know
program.
about that too. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Also, just the internet is the same flood.
Yeah, no, just the human generated stuff is enough to flood you. You don't have to have
Yeah.
silly computers generating things.
Yeah, but so and then I mean and it's very funny that now I basically unironically call the internet a series of tubes, because they actually put in all the fiber optic cables. So now the internet really is a series of tubes. Because that guy was trying to because that guy obviously didn't understand the insider language of ISPs. So he was trying to be relevant or whatever. And so the analogy he came up with was ridiculous to anybody that knew anything about ISPs. But it actually, but it's so sticky as an idea that it's like, yeah, why not call the internet a series of tubes?
We're
It
sliding
is
out of a tube
unbelievably
right
retarded
now.
way to refer to the internet, but why not?
I mean, an Ethernet cable is kind of like a tube, isn't it?
Yeah. But to the point, the fiber optics really are a tube of light. So
Yeah.
tube that contains light or something.
And copper wire is a tube. So that guy was right on point. This is just
That was
connections.
that happened to be Ted Stevens from Alaska who said that.
Senator or House Representative Ted Stevens. Yes.
Senator.
All right.
Yes.
That is more intelligence than I usually expect out of our elected officials. So.
Yeah, sometimes the memes, stay, sometimes the memes stay well after the person has embarrassed themselves out of relevance. Right, poor Mr. Super Cereal about Bad Bear Pig is still trying so hard to stay relevant. And I'm like, no, you are the man that can sell potato. You are the man that you are the man that lost by a hanging chad in Florida, and you are the man Super Cereal about Man Bear Pig.
He's just crying in his private jet right now, I'm sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He could have been a contender. He could have been a contender, but the Florida men and the Florida women got him.
Oh, what is there going to be a song about Florida woman? I know there's a song about Southern Man. There needs to be a Neil Young song about Florida woman now.
Well, I'm not a composer, so I wouldn't be able to make that song. Sorry.
Okay. Well, you just need to make friends with the composer then. Got to make that happen.
Well, I mean, you theoretically know more people than me, because as a Roman Catholic, don't you guys have an entire mafia of Roman Catholics at your?
Oh, absolutely, we do. Yeah, the Roman Catholic mafia is real. We also have a database of all the Protestants in the world, so that when we activate the Illuminati protocol, we can actually just wipe them all off the face of the earth. The Jesuits have been working on this for decades now.
I mean, that's what the cannons and missiles are for.
Yeah.
But wait, I thought it was all Jews. Or am I not allowed to say that here?
Oh, that's just a little puppet we keep, to keep the masses entertained, But the Israeli government's clearly controlled by the by Rome and the Jesuits. I don't know how you people don't see that. Yeah. This was all foreseen in an episode of South Park with Bill Donahue advising Pope Benedict. Oh, anyway.
I know, but Father Eric will not perform that kind of militant Catholicism, not even as a joke.
Not until my training is activated.
Oh,
You know,
Mhm.
so
there's
what's
probably like a song or an image or something that they'll play, and I'll just immediately snap into whatever it is I'm tasked to do.
Well, I hope it's not any of the songs I know, because I will just sing songs randomly.
Yeah, boy, if you accidentally activated my subconscious training, like who knows what's going to come out? Like I could become an Opus Dei assassin, in like a second.
Maybe.
So yeah, Catholic Mafia, very, very real.
Fortunately for you, I don't know any. Of the old Gregorian chants.
I imagine that the Jesuits who planned this whole thing are better than that. It's probably just like a series of computer noises that would have to
It'll be in some pop song that's released in the future.
No. It's two modems talking. The activation is the AOL2 modems talking handshake.
Something like that. That would work.
$300.
What would every
Absolutely.
And then there comes Father Eric.
just full Terminator mode. Yeah, you guys are toast, man. You can't stop this. I don't skip leg day.
I have yakety sax ready for that chase scene, Father Eric.
This isn't going to be Scooby Doo, man. This is going to be like a Dan Brown novel or something.
Perfect. I love it.
No. See, if it were a Dan Brown novel, then I would be saving for the protagonist, because all they do is show up and look very menacing and chase me around and not actually do anything to me.
Yeah.
They are the most inept conspiracy imaginable in that book. A real conspiracy would have had the good symbologist not kill himself, and he would just show up as an anonymous corpse in the river somewhere, one of those rivers.
I haven't actually read the Da Vinci Code, so
I've only seen the movie, and I thought it was unbelievably stupid.
I probably would have noticed that one was stupid, because it would put Catholic stuff in there, and that'll activate my critical faculties.
No, that would drive you nuts. Yeah, Angels and Demons was even worse. I read the book while I was in the hospital once. That was entertaining, very entertaining, but it's silly stuff.
It's cotton candy for the intellect.
It shows you what you can do with connecting things randomly.
Yes,
because that's actually what he's doing. He's not doing anything too exciting. He's just making random connections between things and showing how they could be coherent in an alternate reality. So
yeah. So, but hey, one of the best things that came out of that book was the Reverend Stephen Tong doing a several hours long takedown of everything in that novel about how utterly historically inaccurate it is. Like how like completely intellectually bankrupt it is. He doesn't even. I don't think he even gets to the theology for a very long time. He's just like, like you people act like this is some amazing thing, and it's like, read history, read philosophy, read the like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you guys don't understand symbolism, and et cetera, et cetera. Like several hours of just milking this for content. And then he also presents his own like very playful conspiracy theory. He says that the only reason that this novel is called the Da Vinci Code is because if Dan Brown called it the Dan Brown Code, nobody would buy it.
Right. Yeah,
right.
True story.
I think the solution for people who are really bought into Dan Brown novels is that they should just stop reading entirely. It's not doing them any good. They can go and they can work at the banana stand and sell people bananas, and they'll be happy. They could be a butcher, maybe, if they're good.
A butcher, a baker, or a candlestick maker.
We always need candlesticks at the Catholic Church, right? you know, like how many Catholics does it take to change a light bulb? We'll just use candles. Don't worry about it. We don't need to change the
Oh
light
no,
bulbs.
Jim Bout is complaining that now there's no Latin in the Roman Catholic Church. Is that
Yep.
true, Father Rick?
That's something that Jim says a lot, and you know, we are in fact drawing to the near to the end of this live stream. It's been dark for a while now. My capacity to attend to this live stream fruitfully is greatly diminished, and rational creatures would go to bed under these circumstances. So I'm afraid that we won't have time to relitigate Vatican II tonight. But hey, thank you all for participating.
But before we sign off, can you at least
Nope. I'm ending the stream. Good night, and God bless you all.